Does he wanna come to the? Well, just kidding.
You know what, I have been thinking about bringing him over here and being like, hey, can you fix this and can we put electrical into the wall there?
Yeah, and can somebody fix the glass door in the comical training room? That'd be great too. When this one closes all the way, it really does block the sound out from out there pretty good.
So it won't slide.
But this is as far as it will slide.
Well, they need to come fix it.
I know, right? Alright.
My dad could probably fix that too.
Session 3 of the MREA series. Kirby, I gave you a student manual last time, right?
Yes.
Perfect. For anybody that's watching the recording or on Zoom, QR code is for the student manual. So, there are legal notices, cause we got to do the legal notices. Telemarketing, TCPA, make sure you're following all of those things. KWRI thing, negotiating commissions are entirely negotiable, up to you. And your clients, fair housing, can spam, AI. And then copyright, obviously we were talking about MREA, but anything we talk about past that, just know that it is copyrighted through KWRI. So, welcome back to the MREA series. Today we're stepping into one of the most practical and powerful tools in the entire model, the economic model, which is actually my favorite. Here's why this class matters. If lead generation is the engine of your business, then the economic model is the GPS. It shows you exactly where you're going and more importantly, how to get there. This is the class where we take your income goal, your big goal, and reverse engineer it into real numbers. How many closings you need, how many appointments it'll take, how many leads you need to generate to get there. And when you know those numbers, suddenly your daily activities stop feeling random, they become intentional. You're not making calls, you're filling a pipeline to a specific target. You're not just hoping for calls, you're building towards them on purpose. Today I'll walk through the economic model step by step and help you build a version that's custom to your business, not just theoretical. This session will bring clarity and focus and a whole new level of motivation. So let's dive in.
Which one are you on? Which page?
We're gonna be on the economic model. I need to put another note section, like start to these things. There is a notes thing behind, like 2 pages back, so if you need a note section. Let's start with basics. GCI versus net income. GCI stands for gross commission income. It's the total amount of money your business brings in from commissions before you pay a single bill. But that's not the number that funds your life. What actually matters is net income. And what's left after your expenses. That's what pays your mortgage, that's what funds your goals. And in MREA, we always build our business from net up, not GCI down. So instead of saying I want to make $150,000 in GCI this year, you say I want to net $1,000 or $100,000. And I'll figure out what GCI I need to hit that based on my expenses. This shift is powerful because it moves you from chasing volume to building profitability. Remember, you can close 50 deals and still be broke if you're not managing your numbers. You're not in the hobby business, you're in the business. And that starts by focusing on net. Hold on, I'm gonna hide my thing up here. If anybody sees a little, like, notice up here that somebody's under the thing, just point to the TV for it.
Okay. Do you have to let them in?
Yeah. Now let's talk about the other side of the model, your conversion ratios. This is where your big goal becomes a math problem you can solve. Here's how it works. Every closing starts with a lead. Some of those leads become appointments, some appointments become signed clients, and some signed clients become closing. So ask yourself, how many leads does it take to get one appointment? How many appointments to get one signed buyer or listing agreement? And how many of those become closed deals? These ratios are your personal business data. And if you don't know your numbers yet, that's okay. You'll use the industry averages for now, and then refine them as you track over time. Because here's the big idea. Once you know your ratios, your business becomes predictable. You can say, if I want 20 closings, and I close 1 in every 2 clients, I need 40 clients, and if I convert 1 out of 4 leads into clients, I need 160 leads a year. Now your lead gen goal isn't emotional, it's mathematical. That's how real businesses are built. Oh, and then I clicked off my screen. So, now that we talked about GCI, net income, and conversion rates, let's zoom out and look at the entire journey from lead to closing. This funnel represents the path every transaction takes from the moment a lead is captured to the moment a commission check hits your account. At the very top, you're casting a wide net. You might meet 200 people at an event, receive 200 online leads, or make 200 cold calls. But here's the hard truth, especially when you're starting out, about only 1 to 10 of those leads will actually schedule an appointment with you. And from there, an even smaller percentage will move to the next step, signing an agreement. What this visual really drives home is that success in this business isn't about just capturing leads, it's about systematically nurturing them through every stage of the pipeline. This is why your conversion rate matters. The more skilled and consistent you become at each stage, from setting appointments to signing agreements to writing contracts, the more you increase your return on time and money invested in lead generation. As we transition into the next section on budgeting for profit, keep this pipeline in mind, because how you spend your money should be aligned with what makes people move through your funnel. And your time, it's the most valuable investment. If your pipeline is weak or leaky, you're going to work twice as hard for half the results. Remember, the magic isn't just in getting the lead, it's in having a system that turns leads into relationships and your relationships into results. So, now that we've broken down the flow from leads to closing, it's time to personalize this. This slide shows blank economic model, which you guys also have in your thing, because it's your turn to fill it out based on your business goals. Is the first one in your guys' thing blank or is it filled in?
It's blank. It's very much so like your slide.
Okay. Because you also have one that's filled out.
The one on the back of the page is the one that's completely filled out.
Yeah, if you want to see what one looks like filled out, you guys can just flip to the. So we're gonna pull out our 401 from the last section. And we're specifically going to look at your annual income goal. That number at the top of your 401 is going to become the foundation for this model. You're going to reverse engineer your year, starting with your net income goal, or work backwards through. How much GCI you need to earn, how many closings you need to reach that, how many appointments it will take to generate those closings, and how many leads you'll need to hit those appointment numbers. You don't need to guess, use your conversion rates from earlier or the standard models we discussed. You'll see the conversion rates in here, which are your industry, and we're going to use those. Take a few minutes to start plugging your numbers into the model. If you need help with the math, raise your hand and I'll come around. This is your opportunity to take a big goal and turn it into something actionable, measurable, and trackable. And just remember, when you know your numbers, you know your business. So, we're going to take a few minutes and you're going to start doing this. Your net income, like I said, is going to come from your 401. Your operating expenses are the expenses that you incur regardless of whether or not you sell a house. So, for those here in Lexington, that minimum operating expense is going to be your board dues, which is $11.50, plus your year of monthly fees, which is $900 plus a $25 annual fee to KWRI. So that's going to be $21.25. That's the absolute minimum amount that you should put into this operating expenses. I think it should be higher. I honestly will probably double it because we're going to send postcards, we're going to create campaigns, we're going to spend money on
something down.
send more business cards than what we've already, bought, all those kinds of things. So honestly, I know it seems like a big number, but I would double what the absolute minimum is.
Which is
The minimum is $21.25.
$21.25.
And I would double that for this line. That $21.25, like I said, it's your yearly board dues plus your monthly plus your KWRI.
Yeah,
So
I paid $21.88.
Yes, and that's your starting. Every year, like moving forward, you'll pay the $11.50. So for you, for this year, yeah, you're in.
We're gonna pay again in October, so.
Mhm.
So,
So for you, this is gonna be a higher number because you have,
cause you have to pay board dues again in October.
so.
I know, it's.
Hopefully we're gonna get you closing before it's due in January, right? So you've got technically until the end of December. You'll be invoiced for it in October, you don't have to necessarily pay it until,
See, I was told that we had to pay it in October.
I mean, it gets more expensive the longer you don't pay it, right? Because they start adding. Kind of like early bird pricing, you know what I mean, that kind of stuff. If you don't pay it by January, you start incurring late fees.
Okay.
Okay, those, if anybody who's watching this on YouTube or watching the recording or whatever, you are in southern Indiana. It's gonna be a lower amount. If you're in Louisville, this is gonna be a lower amount. We're one of the more expensive boards of everybody that deals with this. So keep that in mind. Also, if you are on a board where your board dues are separated from your MLS dues, make sure that we're accounting for both of those in these expenses, right? So we are talking, operating expenses is talking things that you have to pay regardless of whether or not you sell a home. Okay, so consider your monthly office fees, your MLS dues, your board dues, any marketing that you're doing, if you're paying for a coach. Your coach would be in that. PC is one of those things that's paid at closing, it's the 10% of your closing, so it wouldn't be an expense, it's gonna be a cost of sale, okay? Your cost of sale is your cap amount. What you pay in cap. Okay, it's kind of hard to calculate what your PC cost of sale is gonna be, honestly, I would do probably 10% of your cap.
That's, I think in the agreement it's 10% per deal.
Yeah.
That we close for like 12 months.
So I would,
Well, or 12 deals.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to give it like a total number, right? So your minimum is gonna be your cap, if you're in a PC or you have some other close at closing type of a thing, I would up that a little bit, so for my PC people. I would do. Probably your cap plus. I mean, just to be like at a high number, maybe your cap plus 10,000, I think that's gonna be high.
So
I don't think you're gonna end up paying PC that.
I'm on the classic.
Which is 18.
Yeah.
So we'll probably do 28 maybe. I don't think it's gonna be that
28.
high, but again, I'd rather you guys aim high. So then do the math, your net income plus your operating expenses plus your cost of sale is gonna be your total GCI. You're gonna divide that by the average commission of this area. With it based on the average home price in this area, your average commission is gonna be. About $8,000. If you're watching the recording or on our thing. If you know what your average commission is, put that. You know that over the last year or however long, I average X amount in commission every time I sell a house, put that. That is going to be the average units, or that's not average, that's gonna be the units sold that you need to reach your. Income goal, okay?
So you said about 28 for the cap amount?
Just because we're not talking just about your cap, because you also have a cost of sale of PC. So I want to account for it in some way. Then you're gonna do units sold. And then we're gonna split it. Okay. So essentially what we're gonna do. Is. 60%, I want you to put on this buyer side here. And 40% over here. So you're gonna take 60% of your units sold, and that's gonna become your total homes purchased. And then 40% of your units sold is gonna become your total homes sold. And then from there, you're gonna start doing the math, right? So whatever that number is. On. This line right here. Whatever this one is, you're gonna divide it by 70%. And that's gonna give you your buyer rep agreements that you need. Then you're gonna take that number, and I will round it up, so if you get 14.3, put 15. whatever the decimal is, round it up, even if it's 14.1, round it up to 15. So then you'll take whatever buyer rep agreements is and divide that again by 70%. And that's gonna be the total buyer appointments that you need. Okay? Then you're gonna divide that by 12, and that's how many buyer appointments you need every month.
I'm not hitting.
Then you're gonna review the practice on the seller side. That's gonna be how many listing appointments you need every month. Okay? And like I said, if you flip to the next page, you'll see what this is. If the example is 132,000 is the net income goal for this example, then you'll kind of see how that flows with a $6,000 operating expense, $12,000 cost of sale. Right, it kind of goes through that process. Okay. So we're looking at that. What is, and we're gonna use this in a couple slides in a little bit. We're gonna essentially take what we just did and we're gonna put it in command. How many buyer side appointments do you need per month? Two? Heather?
I do not have that right now. Second, I am pulling it up because I have a different number that I got in my command and I might need to update.
Yeah, we're gonna go through your command. What does your paper say? That you need for buys? How many buyers appointments? 3? Does that feel a little more manageable? We were looking at,
But the
we
one
were looking at a total GCI of, what was your total GCI that you were looking at?
93.
93? That seems like a huge number. And we said, well, let's talk about units sold. How many units sold did you need?
12.4.
12.4. That's 12 units sold. That's about a closing month, right? Over a closing month. That number is like,
Yeah, especially for me right now.
yeah, it seems high. Now we're looking at it in a perspective of you need to meet with 2 buyers this month. And how many listings? 1?
1.
You need 3 appointments this month. That's a little bit more manageable, right? That's less than 1 a week.
Kinda.
Yeah. Alright. So you mapped out your economic model, so you now know what you need to earn. But here's the next critical piece. If you don't budget for profit, you won't keep any. Let's be honest, most agents treat profit like whatever is left over at the end of the year. But high performing business owners do the opposite. They start with the end in mind. They decide up front, how much do I want to keep? That's where the simple formula comes in. GCI minus cost of sales minus expense equals profit. You already know your GCI target from your model. Now it's about making sure your cost of sale, the splits for royalties and commissions, and your operating expenses like marketing tools and admin are planned intentionally. Because here's the truth, if you don't control your expenses, they will control your business. Budgeting for profit isn't restrictive, it's empowering. You're building a business that funds your life, not a life that funds your business. As we move into the next section, we're going to break down what a healthy budget looks like for a real estate business and how to protect your profit at every stage. So we're going to set your goals in command. We're going to open up command and I'm going to walk through how to set your goals. Which this is something that we should be doing in command Kickstart. If you've already done it, just hang tight for the people that haven't done it. Or go through it and see if we need to edit anything. So, sorry, I should have gotten onto the command earlier. I'll do this just. I logged into command enough on here that I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna open up our command. Again, your command should look something like this, right? Only difference between mine and yours, most likely is gonna be this command MC. Okay. We are gonna come all the way down to the little report section. This is the little bar graph. And if you don't know, if you hit the white KW, it will expand your menu until you get to know what each one of these is. Then you just hit the KW and it collapse. Okay, so we are going to go into report and we're going to hit goals. Okay, alright, and now we're going to do the exact same process that we just did. You're going to hit goal setting, get started, And we're gonna put that information into here, okay? It is mine is defaulting to next year's goals for 2026. You can do this year's goals, which is actually what I would suggest that you do if you don't have goals in here for this year. So your goal for 2025. And this is probably actually gonna be a little bit higher when we get towards the end. Because this is only letting us talk about a calendar year, right, not like the next 12 months type of a thing. So it's gonna do the math based on the next. Finishing this year, so keep that in mind, right? But you're gonna put your 2025 annual profit goal. You're gonna put what you put for expenses and what you put for cost of sales. And I have up here minimum. Okay.
Excuse me, I didn't get to this part.
Then you're gonna put your business makeup for your listing and buyers based on the economic model that we did 60-40. So 60% buyers, 40% listing, so you're gonna put that in. Unless you plan on doing leases, I would leave the leases at 0. And then you're gonna fill in the average commission per unit for listing and for buyers, and your average commission based on. Legal disclaimer here, commissions is entirely up for negotiation. We are going to do a theoretical 3% of every commission, but commissions are up to you to negotiate. Based on 3% of the average listing price in this area, it's gonna be about $8,000. Okay, so again, we should have all of this on our page, we're just kind of putting it into it, right?
I did it using 7,500, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. And then you'll hit continue, and then you're gonna use the recommended rates. Okay. Unless you know yours, then you can put yours in here, okay? And then you are gonna hit continue. And set goals, and then that is gonna show us. All of our stuff, so for me, with the numbers and stuff that I used. It's here, this year. I need. Oh gosh. Oh, this is one of my numbers. This year I have done 20,775 activities.
I don't know if this is right.
Some of this isn't necessarily gonna pull properly, that's why we like the paper one so much, so this year. To hit 200,000, which I'm not sure why I put 200,000, but we're fine, $200,000 profit goal. I would need to close 28 units. And based on our conversion rate, that means I would need to put 36 under contract. Which means I need 48 agreements, I need to keep 66 appointments, I need to set 88. I need 1,746 contacts out of 34,910 leads. Okay. So in command, we can move this from this year to this month so that you can see it a little bit more. Right, and manageable, feels a little bit easier, so in this month, I need 2 closed units for 300 contract. 4 signed agreements, 6 tech appointments, 7 set appointments out of 146 contacts. Right.
What is the activities breakdown?
It's sort of showing you based on the activities that command can pull from. You would need to start 6,282 smart plans. Right, and so that's, if you have 1,000 contacts and every single one of them is on a birthday smart plan, that's 1,000.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I thought
Yeah, no, we're talking like individuals on smart plan started. So if I had 1,000 contacts and I had them all on a birthday smart plan, that would be 1,000. Emails, 5,790 emails, again, if I had 1,000 contacts, that's 6 emails throughout the year. Right.
I think too, which makes it a huge difference when you start tracking what you've been doing.
Yeah.
So like when I text somebody, I go in and create a note and I say, hey, I texted so and so and this is what I said in the text.
Yeah.
So that next month when I come back around to the A's and W's,
Yeah.
I know that I texted them and what I said.
Yeah.
And I go in and I make the note too, whether they respond or.
And when you talk to somebody, after you talk to them, when you run into them in the grocery store. Or when you call them off of a quarterly call plan. You need to put a note into their timeline about what you talked about. That's why the command app is so nice, is because you walk away from this, so great to see you, have a great day. get your phone out, leaning against your car, you walk your thing, pull up command, pull up your name, put the notes in about what you guys talked about, right?
Kid is going to soccer camp.
Yeah,
this week.
because then the next time I talk to them, how was soccer camp? Don't you remember soccer camp? It was so good. He loved it. Oh my god, they lost every single game. He lost it, right? So it's amazing how much power that gives just by being able to look at a cheat sheet and be like, okay, the kid went to soccer camp. You bringing up soccer camp is gonna be a huge thing, especially if they don't talk to you that often,
Yeah.
right? Oh my gosh, you remember soccer camp? I can't believe you remember soccer camp. No way, right? And then we got a breakdown, and this is gonna move, this profit tracker will move as you put opportunities through closing, right? Once you close out an opportunity, it's gonna put in here, you're gonna go in here, right? And this should be from, your opportunities.
I know it is really cold. And you walk out into the other room and it's like, oh, I can.
Yeah, it's because the mini splits in here. Alright, any questions on setting your goals in command?
I don't know if mine's right. You can look at it, but.
What is it saying based on your? paper?
So I didn't do a very high goal because I'm rethinking my ability to close anything this year. It says that my activity breakdown is 573 monthly activities. Let's see, leads, I need 1,192, 60 contacts, 3 appointments set, 2 appointments kept, 2 agreements, 1 under contract and 1 closing to get $2,500 profit.
Yeah, $2,500, yeah, that makes sense.
That's just one sale.
Yeah, that's just one thing.
And for GCI goals, I need. 5,188 estimated. So
Oh yeah, what did you put as your top number?
let's see.
When you were doing this, what did you put as?
30,000.
This one, okay. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking monthly, yeah, probably, yeah. Sounds right.
And then for the year. It says. 12 units closed, 16 under contract, 20 agreements, 26 appointments kept, 36 appointments set, and 716 leads.
How many closed?
12 closed.
What did you put as your commission? For each of the things?
Commission, I don't.
It's gotta be your commission, that number seems high
Yeah.
for a 30,000, so it's gotta be what you put as your commission. What you're listing and buying.
So I'll play with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that you know the numbers, how many leads, appointments, and closings you need, the next step is to decide how you're actually going to generate those leads. This is where you take ownership of your strategy. What lead generation activities are you going to commit to? Are you leaning into prospecting, like making calls, knocking doors, and hosting open houses? Are you interested in marketing, social media, farming, mailers? There's no one size fits all answer, but there is one rule. What you choose, you must do consistently. The second part of your strategy is time blocking. When are you going to lead generate? Your calendar needs to reflect your commitment, because if it's not scheduled, it's not happening. And lastly, who's going to hold you accountable to the plan you just built? You've done the math, that'll make the moves. Your strategy is your roadmap, and when you follow consistently, the goals stop feeling so far away. Now, most of you already have a 411, your weekly plan. What you're going to do now is work backward to figure out what strategic plan it's pointing to. The 411 is great for action, but what is all that action building towards? What is all that action building towards? That's where the GPS comes in. Your GPS is your annual business blueprint. 1 big goal, 3 priorities, up to 5 strategies. What we're doing here is looking at the actions you've already committed to. on your 411 and reverse engineering the bigger plan that connects them. So look at your 411 and ask, what's the overall goal these actions are tied to? What priorities keep showing up? What are the consistent strategies behind your success? Let's go step by step and build your GPS. Here's how we build your GPS based on what's already in your 411. First, your goal. Sorry, hold on, I skipped something. Let's give me pause for just 1 second for me. In your guys' student manual, I gave you guys a conversion rate tracker. This is something that you can do once a week, every day, once a month, based on your number. So you're gonna keep track of the leads you receive, how many of them turned into contacts, how many appointments are set, how many appointments are held, all that kind of stuff, and then it's gonna show you how to find your conversion rates. So I highly recommend you know your conversion rates. It helps with our goal setting. Like we're breaking it down and making it manageable, but imagine what happens if we're using our numbers, our accurate numbers instead of somebody else's. Like, what if for some reason you have a really low conversion from contact to appointment, but 100% of your appointments fine? Like it's gonna be really hard to get 100%. What if you have a really high move on that, right? It changes our numbers and it changes how we go through this process, so make sure that you're being accurate to that. The next page in your manual after that is the GPS plan that we're looking at, okay? First, the goal. What's your big goal for the year? For most of you, this came from your economic model. Maybe it's net $100,000 or close 24 transaction. Whatever it is, that's your G. Now the priorities. Look at your monthly and weekly actions. What are the themes? If most of your tasks are about lead gen, listings, and building systems, those are likely your 3 priorities. Finally, strategies. These are the actual methods you're using to achieve each priority. If one of your priorities is to generate consistent leads, then your strategies might include call your top 50, host open houses, run Facebook ads, door knock a farm. Write them down clearly. These are the exact actions you'll revisit in your 411 each week. So we've got a blank GPS, which should be the next one in your thing. No, okay. You guys have a different GPS in your thing. We're still gonna do the same thing. You're gonna follow this process, but here's another way to look at the GPS. Now it's time to actually build your GPS using what you've already mapped out in your 411. You've done the work, you've been setting weekly goals. Now let's lift your eye up and capture the big picture, all those actions are driving towards. On the screen, you see a blank GPS screen, you can still use the ones that are in your manual, just gonna look a little different. We're gonna start with goal, your G. What is your one big result for the year? Usually based on your net income or closed units. Go ahead and write that at the top of your student minute. Now we're going to move to the 3 P's, your priorities. These are the 3 most important focus areas that must happen to hit that goal. Look at your 411. What themes show up over and over again? Is it lead generation, listings, hiring, time management? Choose the 3 most impactful priorities for your business and recommend priority columns. So for you guys in your manuals, there's a section for each P. So you can see priority 1, priority 2, and then priority 3, so you're gonna split them across the priorities. Okay.
Do we have an example as to priorities or kind of just whatever comes to mind?
I mean, it depends on your 411. So, I mean, one of the priorities, if you're talking about, if one of your priorities is, or one of everybody's priorities should be some form of lead generation, right? So is a priority creating a consistent lead generation? Is it finding the #1 lead generation source? Is it, right? So one should absolutely 100% be lead generation. Based on our 3 L's, leads, listing, and leverage, one of your other priorities should be listings of some kind, right? And then from there, it's gonna be really based on your 401. So what theme are you seeing in your 401? Are you seeing a lot of, you know, making sure that we have time for all of the things is a big part of your 4-on-1. Building a business that supports a hobby, then that's a priority, right? Making sure that we have time for a hobby. And then you drop into your S for strategies. These are the specific repeatable actions you'll take to move each priority forward. Under each priority, write up to 5 strategies you're currently using or want to commit to. Again, use your 4-1-1 for clues. For example, one of your priorities is to generate consistent leads. Your strategies might be call my top 50 weekly, post 2 open houses a month, post 3 times a week on social, ask for referrals during closings, run Facebook ads quarterly. You're not just guessing, you're capturing what's already working and naming it as part of your plan. Remember, this isn't about getting it perfect, it's about getting it clear. Once the GPS is filled out, it becomes your North Star for the year. Your 4-1 keeps you moving, but your GPS keeps you aimed in the right direction. Okay, so we're spending a lot of time like comparing and contrasting 4-1-1. If our GPS does not match our 4-1-1, both of them are useless to us. Okay, because like it says, your 4-1 is what's keeping you in action every day, like holding you accountable to that. But your GPS should be what steers them, right? So we're using the 4-1 that we've made to create our GPS so that they're in alignment. So when we're looking at our GPS, our 4-1 matches. When we're looking at our 4-1, it's driving our GPS. Okay? So why does this matter? When you connect your 4-1 back to your GPS, you suddenly have clarity. You're no longer just doing tasks, you're driving a plan. Your GPS gives you focus. It tells you where to say yes and where to say no. And it keeps your 4-1 relevant. Every week, you're not just choosing random tasks, you're aligning your effort with your strategy. And when you work with a coach or accountability partner, your GPS gives them insight into how to support you at a higher level. So remember, the GPS tells you where you're going, the 4-1 keeps you on track 1 week at a time. Let's keep building these tools so they actually work for you. And I mean, something we've talked about too is goals change, right? Priorities change, strategies change. So if you put a strategy to, let's look at our example of this. If you had a strategy to call my top 50 weekly, post 2 open houses a month, post 3 times a week on social, ask for referrals during closings, run Facebook ads quarterly. What happens if one of these things is not working for you? Or you can't do it. Like, let's say life happens, and for whatever reason, you cannot post 2 open houses a month. It doesn't work, whatever the reason is, right? You cannot post 2 open houses a month. It's just not working. And not that the open house is not working, our schedule's not working for it, right? That's fine, but we can't just not do it and not replace it with something, right? So if in that example, we cannot hold 2 open houses a month, we need to come in and we need to pull that strategy off and replace it with another one. And that is okay to do, right? The important part is that we're not like, not doing that, not doing that, not doing that. Cool, right? We need to make sure that we're doing things that we're gonna hold ourselves accountable to, that we're gonna have somebody else hold us accountable to, and all of those things. For the first time, my timing is off. Cause I'm on my last slide. That's happened sooner or later. I'm doing really good. Okay, last slide. All good. And then we'll talk from this. Let's take a moment to zoom out and acknowledge what we just did. You didn't just talk about goals, you mapped out a plan to reach them. You now know how many closings you need, how many appointments you need to set, and how many leads you need to generate to make it all happen. That's what separates hope from strategy. That's what separates busy agents from business owners. The economic model takes away the guesswork and gives you a clear, predictable path forward. When you pair this with consistent lead generation and tracking, you stop wondering, will I make it? And start thinking, here's exactly how I will. Now, before we wrap up today, I'd love to hear from you. What are your ahas? What hit you today? What shifted for you as you walk through the numbers? How are you thinking differently about your business? Any ahas?
Well, I guess I didn't think about all the expenses that would go into it, so I might need to change how much commission I wanted to make this year, so.
Yes. Well, and that should help too, like reverse engineering it the way that we did, is you. Do you still pick, okay, I wanna make this much, and. The rest of, like, the rest of the changes, right? So. At the top, you need to just pick what you wanna make, and the expenses and the rest of the numbers are gonna feed. They're gonna account for the expenses and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of doing it this way, is we're accounting for all of that, you're not saying, I wanna make $100,000, and we're forgetting about board dues and all of that other stuff, and at the end of the year, we're sitting kind of wondering our $20,000, right?
If I go into command and I work from the bottom up,
And it's gonna do the same process, yeah. So, I mean, cause. It needs to be an action that's going to drive the needle in some way, right? And the important part of this conversation isn't about how many appointments I want to hold. Every week, or I think I can hold in a month. The question is, what is the end goal? And that's why we work the way that we work, is because what's important is the end goal. And we need to ensure that we're doing the activities to feed the end goal. Because if you put in, if you were like, yeah, I can do. An appointment a week, yeah, that seems great. And at the end of it, that's only equaling. $100,000, but you need to make $150,000. Or that's the goal, so that you can quit, another job or do whatever it is that you wanna do with your family, we need to know. That, right, which is why we work the way that we work.
Yeah.
So I would mess with it. And start put a big goal, like we said, this is something that should make your stomach turn a little bit. Of like, can I really achieve this? Like, this shouldn't be, I could get by on this. Like, it really should be something that makes your stomach turn a little, like kind of makes you a little nervous, so put a big number in there. Right? And then we get through this year and we reevaluate, we look back at our goals, we look at our year, we look at our activities. We look at our conversion rate, like I really challenge you to start keeping track of your numbers.
Yeah.
And not just for the purpose of like reporting them to Stephen every day, but so that a year from now. We know exactly what percentage of your contacts turn into leads, exactly what percentage turn into appointments, exactly how many you are actually able to hold. How many of those turn into agreements, how many of those turn into contract, how many of those turn into close. Next year, our numbers are gonna be totally different because we're gonna know what we do, right? We're using an industry standard, but that doesn't mean that that's your percentage. We're just using it because we don't know yours. So I really challenge you to use that page. In your student manual, it's. The one right after the economic model, the conversion rate tracker.
Yeah.
I challenge you to use that. You can make copies of it, you can get the digital one and fill it in digitally, you can, write it in your planner every week or however, whatever you wanna do, however you wanna do it. Every week's good, maybe you have a planner or a notes app or something where you tally. Every time you do something, then we add them up at the end of the week and put them into your stuff. But the more accurate conversion rate you can get for your business, the better off.
Do you wanna look at this, cause I don't think my math is math.
math ain't nothing.
My math ain't math. I messed it up. By 60 and. This one was 0.3.
Yeah, that's why. What was this one, 1.1? Okay, that's why. Yeah, cause we're moving them up.
I rounded.
Yeah, so, I mean, because we're rounding, because you can't hold 0.1 of an appointment. Right, because we had to round it up. If you did the math backwards on that, now that you have a solid number, your top number is gonna be higher. Because we can't do 0.1 of an appointment. So that's why it looks weird.
Well, like you can't have 2.5 children.
Because, and we rounded everything up as we went, right, 6 times 0.7 wasn't an even 8. It was a 7 point whatever, right? So if you were to take that actually backwards from the 2 and the 1, your top number is gonna be higher than what you actually. Because we had to round it. So,
Feel sick.
hold on guys, give me 1 second. Hey Chris, how'd it go?